Hey guys, thank you for watching today's episode. Before we begin, I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to our sponsor for today, Helix Sleep. Now, for those of you guys who don't remember, several months ago, I partnered with Helix Sleep to get myself a brand new mattress. It's been 3 months, and I am happy to say that in the last 3 months, I've gotten the most and best sleep of my life.
So in case you don't know what I'm talking about, Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding, which are customized to fit your needs and conveniently shipped right to your door. When you visit their website, what you'll do is you'll take the sleep quiz they made, and that'll match your unique body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. I personally like a firm mattress, and based on my results, Helix matched me with their Helix Plus mattress. The best part about all of this is that Helix delivers the mattress right to your front door for free. It all comes rolled up into a box, and it is very super easy to set up, even by yourself.
And here's the deal, if you're the kind of person that's afraid of a big commitment, Helix Sleep has a 100-day money-back guarantee policy, so you can spend the money, buy the bed of your dreams, and try it out for 100 days. And if you're not happy with it, not only do we get a full refund, they'll send someone to your house to take the mattress off your hands. Easy to set up, really great customer service. Helix Sleep is where it's at. So hey, if you want to pick one up today, you can head over to helixsleep.com/thecompletionist or click the link in the box down below. Buying a mattress supports the show, and if you end up using our link down below, you'll get $200 off your mattress. Again, that's helixsleep.com/thecompletionist or click the link in the box down below. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the episode. Right, Yayo?
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield are quite possibly the most controversial Pokemon games out there to date. While I personally loved the games, a bunch of people were furious that they used a lot of old assets and removed almost half of the already existing Pokemon from the Pokédex. Game Freak has tried to solve this with the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra DLC, eventually combined into the expansion pass. These add about 200 more Pokemon, as well as 2 completely new regions and storylines. And while this may not satisfy those frustrated fans, I think the extra content more than warrants a deeper look.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Completionist DLC, where I'm revisiting new content that's been added to games I've already completed. This episode, I may have been off more than I can chew because I'm actually looking at 2 DLCs for 2 games. That means I'm gonna have to complete this DLC twice, making it almost as long as a regular game. I do the series to take a break from the long, full-length games, but for this one specifically, I don't know if this is, what I'm gonna do. I'm not that stoked about it. It's just
Bulbasaur's back.
All right, let's get right to it. Bulbasaur's in this game. I'm ready to go.
When Pokemon Sword and Shield came out back in 2019, I was shocked at how quickly I dove headfirst into them. I loved the raid battles, hunting for shinies, and breeding for perfect IVs. I genuinely think that Sword and Shield have the best gym challenges of the entire series thus far, including the final tournament. The game was a ton of fun, but it lacked a certain level of polish. The lack of voice acting, weak story, and average graphics made this seem more like a game for the 3DS than the Nintendo Switch. While this was partially saved by the gigantic nature of the wild area, it still had an issue with pop-in and massive lag whenever online mode was activated. But that was nothing compared to Dexit. Dexit marked the elimination of about half of the National Dex, meaning players couldn't get some of their older Pokemon into Sword and Shield. This infuriated some fans and led to one of the most dramatic differences between critic and user scores on Metacritic. This anger extended even further when it was realized that a lot of these Pokemon were actually in the game, but not available yet. That made sense when the Pokemon Company announced the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra DLC packs. Not only would these introduce new areas, story, and gameplay mechanics, but it would give access to those 200 Pokemon that weren't included in the main game, but were still in the game's data, for a small fee of course. Now, as a fan, I understand why people were pissed. Everyone wants their favorite Pokemon, and putting them behind a paywall sucks. But as the completionist, I'm okay with this. Instead of having to catch all 900 Pokemon in one go, it's been broken up for me. It's kind of like when you're running, but instead of trying to run the whole time, you set smaller goals for yourself and walk in between them. It's called interval training, or in this case, interval catching. But most importantly, my favorites were brought back. That's right, baby. We got Bulbasaur, we got Dragonite, we got Electabuzz. The best part of Sword and Shield was easily the wild area. Getting to see a ton of Pokemon wandering about gave me a magical feeling I've been looking for since Pokemon came out over 25 years ago. And I'm glad to say that both the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra have doubled down on this. Instead of being designated to a single area, the entirety of both maps have Pokemon roaming throughout. This especially hit home when I first set foot in the Isle of Armor. In the distance, you can see a whole whale lord sitting in the ocean while Galarian Slowpoke rest on the beach. It actually felt like I was entering into their natural habitat. This is helped out tremendously by the layout. Every section of both areas transitions beautifully together, making it all feel natural. Compare this to the wild area where it felt more like a wildlife reserve than Pokemon running free. However, this doesn't help with the graphical issues I had before. Everything feels a little bland, and there are a ton of minor things I noticed that took me out of it at times. Why does the inside of every building look really blurry when you open up the door? Why do characters suddenly stop moving when their dialogue is finished? It's stuff like that that really takes me out of the experience. What didn't take me out of the experience was having to catch all the Pokemon. I was initially nervous because it's a lot harder to catch a bunch of Pokemon when they're roaming around. In a regular Pokemon route, there's a percentage regarding how often a Pokemon would appear. It might be rare, but I know I can just keep trying over and over until I find it. This is not the case with the wide open areas. Pokemon wander freely, and a bunch of them are dependent on what kind of weather is around you, or if it's something that I can't always find, I need to go to a den and go into raid battles hoping one of them is the Pokemon I'm missing. This could take days or weeks depending on what time I'm able to play the games. Or it would if I didn't have Pokemon Home. Pokemon Home is an app on the Switch that lets you store every Pokemon that you've ever caught, whether they're in Pokemon Sword and Shield or not, for a small monthly fee. This means that you can transfer Pokemon all the way from Diamond and Pearl to your system if you'd like. Now this is a godsend, especially for me. I no longer have to try and scramble to catch every single Pokemon in a game when a new Pokemon game comes out. You just have to get the new ones and transfer the rest. This makes for a much more relaxing experience for me, and I am thankful to have this from now on. Of course, Pokemon games aren't just about catching Pokemon, there's a story, and both DLCs feature interesting stories centered around legendary Pokemon. The Isle of Armor centered around a dojo run by Master Mustard. He's an old man who once trained Leon, the guy you defeated to become champion. He seems old and frail, but turns into a beast when you battle him. Essentially, he's Master Roshi if Master Roshi wasn't a pervert. This story is all about the importance of training and working together, which is emphasized by Kubfu, a legendary Pokemon given to you by Mustard. Kubfu is a fighting type that you'll have to train in order to take on one of the nearby towers. Once you defeat all of their floors Game of Death style, Kubfu will evolve into a different form of Urushifu, depending on which tower you conquer. The Tower of Water gives you Rapid Strike Urushifu, who is water fighting and learns Surging Strikes, a multi-hit water type move. Defeating the Tower of Darkness gives you Single Strike Urushifu, a dark fighting type that learns Wicked Blow, a powerful single strike dark move. Both of these will always be a critical hit and are insanely strong. Now there was one part of the Isle of Armor that I found was kind of a bummer. If you talk to a backpacker in front of the bridge before the dojo, he'll ask you to find all of the Alolan Diglets hiding around the island. They're hard to spot and there are way too many of them. In fact, taking a guess, there's 151 of them. However, you do constantly get rewarded with other Alolan forms of Pokemon, so it ends up being worth it. Fun fact, the Isle of Armor has the only part of both DLC that is different between versions. Depending on whether you own Sword or Shield, your on-island rival will either be the Poison Trainer Clara or the Psychic Trainer Avery. There really isn't much of a difference though, especially since they both use Galarian Slowpoke pretty much exclusively. Now, on to the frigid beauty of the Crown Tundra. The story is based a lot more on history and legendary Pokemon. You'll find yourself helping Peony, a stubborn steel trainer who just wants to spend time with his daughter, on different legendary adventures where he gives you clues and you have to solve them by exploring the landscape and doing some research. Doing so gets you access to new and classic legendary Pokemon. While the Calyrex storyline was interesting, albeit a bit dark, my favorite part was hunting down the different legendary groups. You can get 3 of the Sword of Justice by helping Sonia find DNA evidence of their existence, and even legendary Titans, which adds 2 new ones with Regieleki and Regidrago. I got most excited when I searched for the legendary birds. This is exactly who you think it is, except they now have Galarian forms. These give them completely different typings, and they look really cool. Moltres looks absolutely evil, and Zapdos is now a badass Roadrunner. I'm kind of mixing Articuno though. It looks like a bird at an Eyes Wide Shut party. Another interesting part of the Crown Tundra is the Max Lair. This is a cave near where you start that is filled with classic legendaries in Dynamax battles. The difference between this and regular raid battles is that you don't get to use your own Pokemon. You choose one from the selected group and travel through the caves battling multiple Dynamax Pokémon. When you get to the end, you face off against a powerful legendary from any of the previous games in order to catch it. Now, this is such a cool way to bring back the legendary Pokémon we all know and love without having to keep releasing special events for them. With the max layer, catching each one feels like an event. None of these Pokémon are recorded in the Pokédex, so you don't technically need to catch them. However, you do have to catch the Ultra Beast Necrozma in order to complete the final legendary clue. So I'd recommend you keep trying to complete the game. Or you can just transfer your stuff via Pokemon Home, whichever is easier for you. Now, all this stuff is great, and I really enjoyed it, but the part that gets me most excited out of everything here in the DLC was the Galarian Star Tournament. After finishing the main story of Crown Tundra, you'll receive a call on your Rotom phone from Leon. He'll bring you back to Winden Stadium and announce a new tournament. This will have you pair up with different trainers from around Galar to participate in multi-battles to see who's the best. This was so much fun. I loved the gym format in the main game, and this just gives me more of that. These tournaments are great, and it adds an interesting bit of strategy when you have to choose who your partner's going to be. If you have a Pokemon that's going to use Earthquake a lot, don't go with trainers that are weak to that. I even made it harder for myself a few times by accident. The first time I thought I could have only 3 Pokemon, but that's not the case. Everyone else gets 3, but the player gets 6. I had 3 good Pokemon and 3 more that were just useless, especially Cosmog, who only learned Splash and Teleport. But it just made it that much more satisfying when I won. Designing teams based on who you want your opponent to be is a new fun level of strategy that can really help get people into competitive play. I only wish there was a way to do this with an online partner. How fun would it be to do this with your friends online? While the DLC didn't really solve the problems I had with the main game, it did give me a lot more of what I loved. More roaming Pokemon, more big raid battles, and more of a Galarian Gym League via the Galarian Star Tournament. It's as if the DLC knew where the original excelled and bumped it up tenfold. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you can also have your Pokemon follow you while you're on the island or in the tundra. That's right, one of the best features in Pokemon is back. One of the biggest complaints across all Pokemon games is the lack of rewards for tons of work. Fortunately, it looks like Game Freak is starting to listen with the DLC. Completing the Pokédex for each one of the new areas gives the player a different replica crown they can wear and a certificate, as is tradition, but there's even more stuff thrown in. The Isle of Armor also gives the player the Mark Charm, something that makes wild Pokemon you catch more likely to have a mark on them. This mark adds a title to the Pokemon when you send it out. For example, a Sirfetch'd with a slump mark would be called Sirfetch'd the Worn Out. I haven't really seen it in-game yet, but it's really cute. The Crown Tundra actually gives you additional items that are useful immediately. You'll get 50 rare candies and 3 golden bottle caps, which can be used to boost all of a Pokemon's independent values to maximum. These are both great if you're training Pokemon to actually battle real-life people. All of these are great because not only are you actually getting rewarded, you're being encouraged to keep playing. And honestly, you should. Both the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra are a ton of fun, especially if you liked doing all of the raid battles in the main game. The new characters introduced are great, and the new Pokemon are just as good. Basically, if you like Pokemon, you're going to like the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. When I completed the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, there were 3 losses, mainly because I forgot that I could use potions and revives in that final tournament. This isn't a Nuzlocke run, I can just do what I want. 151 Diglets found. A little monotonous, but not as bad if you're really combing areas as you play the Isle of Armor. 20 companion trainers unlocked for the Galarian Stars tournament, adding some decent variety to that final challenge. Over 200 additional Pokemon caught, both new and old. And by caught, I mostly mean transferred over with Pokemon Home. Thank you, Game Freak. 27 hours of total playtime, and 1 Bulbasaur that grew into a Venusaur and is now following me everywhere. That's right. Come on, who's a good boy? You are my Bulba boy.
The expansion pass for Pokemon Sword and Shield is great. Not only does it add more story and more Pokemon to catch, but there are also some great post-game challenges that players can partake in for a ton of additional time. The Max Layer and the Galarian Star Tournament are so addicting, and I'm still playing them today even after I've already completed the game. Both the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra DLC took everything I loved about the original game, built on it, and gave me more. That's all I can really ask for with DLC. It is a bit pricey to get both of them at $40, but in the end, if you love these games,
You're gonna love the DLC. So with that in mind, guys, I give this DLC my completionist rating of download it.
Download it.